going on, guys? So over the weekend I went to a Rage of the Abyss sneak peek. I decided to play Tenpai Dragons for the event. I also played a locals after. I ended up getting second place at both events. Luckily I was able to secure like 2 Dominus Impulse and 2 more Charming Furos, which I'll talk later about the Dominus Impulse. But in this video, what I want to do for y'all is just give y'all a deck profile, something that you can kind of base on. Keep in mind, I only have 2 of the Furos and the Impulse. In the future, I would definitely play 3 of those if you can get your hands on them. I know they're insanely expensive, like way more expensive than they should be. But you know, it is what it is. You kind of have to roll with the punches. So, anyways, let's get right into the deck profile. I think you'll like some of my tech choices. I do want to talk a little bit about board breakers versus hand traps. You're not going to beat the new Snake Eyes deck with board breakers. You're just not, unless you get the perfect 2, which would be like droplets plus something else. But even then, you would really need to draw like 3 breakers to be able to really break their board. And one of them would really need to be Forbidden Droplet. You'd have to draw like Lightning Storm, Droplet, and Raigeki. So I would rather just take the chance on hand traps and try to interact with them on their turn. I feel like that's the best bet. And especially with Furos or Perulia, you can just draw into more hand traps. So anyways, guys, let's get right into it. Alright, so here is the deck profile. The only thing different is I did swap these Effect Veilers for Nib in the tournament, which looking back, this should be Effect Veilers just all along. That should be the case. And I do want to talk about the Dominus Impulse and the Furos. I only had 2 of each, so that's the only reason I played 2 of these. But it really felt pretty good, other than this one. I'd want that at 3. But this card's really good, but it does conflict with Seals and Moonlight Dragon. So, you know, if you use it, you need to kind of sequence it correctly. Maybe if you have Veiler, just use it first. Or you could cut this all together for another hand trap. You know, but it does keep you from Mourner. It keeps you from Mourner, Veiler, Nib, and I think Ghost Bell too, because it's an Earth. Perulia's a little meh, honestly. So I'm probably gonna up this to 3, up this to 3. Maybe just keep 1 Perulia in the main and 2 in the side, and put it in like in matchups where it's really good. But we'll just have to see. Droplet was really good. Well, I say it was really good. I didn't really draw it when I needed it, and I took it out for the sneak peek, I think, and used Ultimate Slayer. Not the ticket. So maybe put Shifter in over that. I don't know. But there's a lot of decks that, you know, Shifter's not that great against, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of Tenpai mirrors now. So maybe not. I may just keep this in. I don't know. I'm really debating on this one, but it is good when you pair it with one of these, so it can still clean the board up enough for you to be able to OTK. Because you don't need much space to OTK. You just need a little window, and if they let you in, you know, if they don't interact at the right spot, you just win. 3 common, 1 Saiyan Summoning. I did not miss playing the set rotation package. None of that. It felt good. Call by the Grave at 1, just so good. Stopping the Ash, you know, the Ash when you're in battle phase and that's your only play, it feels good. Terraforming, of course, I mean, second field spell. Prosby, just another way to see breakers in your field spell. 2 Genroku, 2 Fadra, 3 Padra, 3 Chandra, and 1 Magnamut. Magnamut, again, just a good hand trap in a lot of games. And then, you know, at times you can just banish your, like if you're main decking Shifter or if you're siding it in, like you'll see I side Shifter now, this format. And this is still debatable, and I want to test. Because if Snake Eyes Azamina becomes really prevalent, I think we have to main deck Shifter, because that actually just completely shuts them down for the most part now. Because a lot of them aren't going to be playing the Cash Tira stuff. They're not going to be doing that. You know, like the best line they'll have is the IP, and against this deck, that's not enough. Especially if we have access to Field Spell. It does absolutely nothing. That's it for the main deck, I think. Extra deck, 2 of our main guys right here. I mean, I will be honest, I find myself going to this guy less and less now. But there's really nothing better to play. I might experiment with like the Ultimaya to Zulkin line because I do think we're going to be going first more. So I would probably cut that and the Typhon. Moonlight Dragon and Seals does conflict with Dominus Impulse, but I think it's worth it in cases where it gets you the turn on a pretty clear field, because in that case you're gonna win. But if you pass on just one Seals against like Snake Eyes or Yubel, you're probably cooked anyway. The Raging Phoenix, Zelantis package with Promethean, the Fire Charmer, self-explanatory. This is how we OTK under Dimensional Barrier, and it works. It really works well. Just, you just have to set it up right. Q-Belt. I didn't really know the value of this card until recently. Somebody just gave me one because I couldn't find one. I know it's like a 20-cent card, and I know I have like 10 of them, probably somewhere. Somebody gave it to me, and this card is like one of the MVPs. Q-Belt is so good. It's a way to OTK under Shifter. It's a way to clean up a body if you need to get rid of a body. I got second, like I said, in the sneak peek and locals. One game I lost to Azamina Snake Eyes because I was on breakers during that event. And then in the locals, I lost to Kashtira because I was on hand traps, ironically, and I didn't have enough to break through their board with Shangira and the Scareclaw Kashtira. But this card kind of helps that. Samurai Destroyer also just really good. Trident Dragon, like probably the biggest MVP. Moonlight Dragon, I think you still need this just to, because a lot of cards like to be destroyed. Flamberge Dragon likes to put 2 bodies on the board. There's just things that you can do, just like, hey, put a brick in their hand. Black Rose Dragon, it came up. It's just good. And then Typhon, I'd probably change this one. I think I will end up. The only reason I'm scared to play just one of these is the Unicorn Rip, because cash is still around, and it's not something I want to. It's not something I want to experience. Just, oh crap, now one of my main win cons is gone. But again, you don't use this as much now as you do Trident Dragon. Like especially when you're under Shifter, like this is like your go-to card. Usually, like you just are guaranteed the win if you can go into this, and especially if you can do the line where you make it early on your turn and just go to battle phase and have common, you just cook. Starslayer Typhon. It's another card that like you just like, man, if you're making this, you're probably not winning that game. Like I don't know. It's never great. For the side deck, Kawaki Miru, things like Branded Yubel, etc. Dimensional Barrier. I'd like to find room for 3, but the Shifter's mandatory to me. The Judgment is just such a good going first card. Like if you know you're going first, you do this and then Judgment. Like, man, you're cooking. 3 Cyclone and then Heat Wave. Heat Wave, self-explanatory. It's just a card that it's not fair, and if it's an unfair card that we can play, let's play it. Plus, it's a very easy decision whether you're going first or second, or if you just don't know. Like, if you don't know if you're going first or second, you can side this in. And a lot of times it can just at least buy you a turn, at the least. But hopefully you could break their board with hand traps or something like that. But most decks, like, we're going to be able to just break through their board with Engine, like, I mean, and maybe like 1 breaker. You're good. But anyways, this is the deck profile. I hope y'all, let me go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit so you can see it a little bit better maybe. This is it. If you want to take a look at it, screenshot it or whatever. Like I said, I mean, 2nd place at locals and the sneak peek. So not a bad list. Like I said, the sneak peek, I was playing breakers. Keep that in mind. However, I don't think anything would have been any different if I was playing this build. And maybe have actually won the sneak peek if I was playing this build. Because I still play a little bit of breakers, but not a bunch. And I don't know if I notated, I would definitely play 3 of these and 3 of these, and maybe cut this down, or cut the droplets down, or cut out one of these, like go, maybe cut one of these, and make room for these two. That way the theory is you would draw into one of these. But I really like Lightning Storm and Feather Duster, this format, because like the Snake Eyes full inboard, I mean, they've got like 3 or 4 spells on the field. U-Bell's got like 2, 3, 4 spells on the field, 2 or 3, yeah, like 2 or 3 spells on the field, and then Memento, you know, 2 or 3 spells on the field, even more sometimes. So I think back row removal in Tenpai main deck is kind of mandatory. Plus, if you draw like both of these, like you feel really good against back row. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this. Thanks for watching the video, and be on the lookout for more content in this new format. We'll see you on the next one.